Hey Radiant Souls, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Heather Mays. I'm an intuitive counselor, energy healer, author, artist, animal communicator, and once a month, I like to bring through a monthly energy forecast, and that's what this video is about. So I hope you'll stick around for all of that. When I do a forecast, I'm not saying here are the events that are going to unfold for November. What I like to do and what I'm guided to share with you is more of a theme of what will help you navigate whatever comes your way for that month. So we've been doing these throughout 2022. They're some of my most popular videos. I get great feedback from all of you, so thank you for that. And let's see what's coming our way for November. So the guidance I was getting from my team, which, by the way, if you don't know, I have a team of spirit, angelic, and multidimensional beings that I work with and channel, and they partner with me to bring through this message, these messages for the monthly forecast. So what I was feeling for November is, and it's not going to sound surprising, but many of us are tired, we're worn down, we're frustrated, or many of us are energized, motivated, and excited. And sometimes we're all of those all together, and we fluctuate wildly even between the two. November is a time to anchor in, steady yourself, find your balance, find your footing, find your neutral, and to stop being swayed and to therefore be unencumbered by anything that's trying to push or pull you in one direction or another. Because throughout November, we're going to see more of that tug of war of energies around us. So it's time to find your footing, but without losing your flexibility, and to sink into our own depths and know our own strength. And we're doing that so that what we see, what we say, and how we act have what the team was calling maximum dispersal. So the theme or the word or the concept for November is prismatic, the act of being like a prism. So if we think about prism, the team broke that down for me in a really cool way, and it is perceiving reality is sacred medicine. Prism. Let me say that again. Perceiving reality is sacred medicine. So when we go back to what we see, what we say, and how we act, each of those has the power to change reality, to change the world around us. And when we look at the word medicine at the end of that prism, medicine in its original form means to heal. So when we're acting as a prism and we are perceiving reality, seeing it as sacred medicine, we are changing the world and healing the world. No easy feat, right? No pressure. We've got this, and they're going to give us some more information on it as we go forward. But I really liked seeing prism like that. Perceiving reality is sacred medicine. It's not just, hey, I'm looking at stuff around me and it is what it is. There's a conjugation and an alchemization when you do perceive reality. When you kick it back out and share it with yourself, share it with others, think about it, talk about it, feel it, you're changing reality. You're changing the shape and the direction. So if you think of being like a prism, if you can picture like a triangle of quartz or something, a prism, traditional prism shape. What they do, two main functions. They take a beam of white light and they disperse it out into all of its component colors. So the whole color of the rainbow, because white contains all colors. So they are taking something that is presented one way and they're breaking it down, they're alchemizing, they're changing it, they're showing it for what it really is. It wasn't wrong being white, but it's more accurate being the rainbow. Here's all the things that make that up. And they also take light and they can bend and change light to change an image. So when you think of lenses and things like that that are prismatic, that's what they're doing. So if you're here on my channel, if you're watching this, you likely feel that there should be some kind of change in the world, that we're in need of something shifting somehow, some way, somewhere, anytime now, right? Any day, any minute. And so when we're talking about prism, we're looking at the optics of what's around us. And as we go through November, the things we're being shown are going to get a little wackier. They're going to get a little more distorted. And the team kind of teed it up for me by saying things out there in the world are being presented to us and filmed metaphorically through an anamorphic lens. So an anamorphic lens is one that distorts the angle of one side of an image to give, like, wide angle, for example, is a good example of that. For example is a good example. I'm so good with vocabulary today. A wide angle lens is an anamorphic lens, or can be. And so it's like giving you more perspective in one way, but it kind of shrinks it down. If you think of watching a movie in that form where you have the black bars at the top. So what happens is when that is being anamorphized, if that's even a word, things at the edges get distorted and get a little blurry. So they're showing one thing, but they're distorting others, and that is intentional. When we're coming to and walking through November, there's more than what meets the eye. What's being softened or blurred or distorted is being softened, blurred, distorted, pushed toward the edges on purpose. So our task is to look for that nuance. Look for, what are we not seeing? What are we not being shown? And that some of the answers and truth and glory and light lie in that. But we've got to go look for it. We've got to search that out. And as the prism, perceiving reality as sacred medicine, we can shift that frequency when we perceive it and when we see it. So many times we hear this a lot, that we're reflections of the world around us, or we aim to reflect back what comes our way. And when we do that, we're smooth surfaces. A smooth surface reflects something back. A prism bends the angle. It's not a smooth surface, it's a refraction. And the times when we kind of brace ourselves, or we wall ourselves off, or we're going along with a group because, man, there's less effort when you have kind of all of the people doing the same thing together, or, you know, we start to feel that our views are reflected back to us and we feel a sense of community. And that's amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. They're just calling out for us to notice the difference between reflection and refraction. Reflection is sending back what comes to you. It's a little bit passive. Refraction is a change agent. Refraction is bending the light. It's changing the direction. It's letting something process through you as the prism, through all of your jaggedness, through all of your angles, through all of your coarseness. If you think of a kaleidoscope, changing everything that comes in, passing it through you, and releasing it back into the world. And so we each are our own unique prism, because we each have our own experiences, our own history, our own emotions, our own perceptions, and our own beliefs and opinions. And we need all of that refracted back out to build a better world. So how do we become a prism and not just a mirror? We follow the same steps as how a traditional prism is created. So a traditional prism is ground down, it's smoothed, it's polished. It's not just the smooth surface. They work it. They take a pumice stone or chemicals to it. There's a big, long process. So when we consider ourselves the prism, we lean into the things that come up against us. We allow the coarseness to polish our rough edges and smooth out our sharp sides, our sharp edges. So in short, for all of this, changing the picture through our own refraction as the prism, perceiving reality is sacred medicine. That's our responsibility. always, but more so in November as things are going to be thrown at us. And I almost picture it like Wonder Woman with her cuffs. But if we had we're refracting stuff out, we're bending it back. Like, nope, that's not how it is. I'm going to show you the real truth. When we do that, the prisms of possibility become clear. So just think of it being like instead of a mirror upon a mirror upon a mirror, it's a prism upon a prism upon a prism, and everything gets molded, shaped, carved, bent, and refracted back out better. That is the theme for November. So when we look at the natural element that kind of helps us understand this a little bit more, what came up this month was the glacier. So if you think of snow versus a glacier, snow is white. It reflects back the sunlight because it's light, it's airy, it doesn't have a lot of substance. A glacier has depth. A glacier has density. And if you think of some of maybe you've seen them, maybe you've traveled to them, or maybe you've seen them on TV or in photos, they have this beautiful blue tint to them. And that's because they're absorbing some of the light and refracting it out in a different way. So they're changing the way the light presents itself. And when we think of an animal that is coming in to support us in the message this month, it is the hummingbird. So I originally thought it was because I'm from the South in the United States, and we have ruby-throated hummingbirds, and the color here for them is very glittery and prismatic. But that wasn't it. I was wrong. My team said. They like to let me know that. And really, the hummingbird is representing, like we said at the very beginning, that flexibility. We want to sink in and we want to be ourselves, and we want to let things that come up against us and rub us the wrong way shape us so that we're better prisms. But we also want to be flexible in where we are. We want to have our footing, but also our flexibility. So the hummingbird can fly forward, backward, they can hover, and most beautifully, their wings go in the shape of a figure 8, so the infinity sign. And then also, very cool. And if you go to the page to download this month's art, you'll see a link to get to this, some of these photos. But if there are people who have taken photos of hummingbirds with the sun behind the hummingbird's back. So they're looking through the wings of the hummingbird, and the wings are rainbow. Their wings have a prismatic effect in that they shape the sunlight into rainbow on their feathers. It's the coolest, most beautiful thing. So speaking of art, every month I channel a piece of art that helps reinforce this message. So this month, the message of Prismatic. This is the art to represent that. And you can see it's very prismatic looking. It is reflecting and bending, not reflecting, it's refracting and bending and shaping the light. And then the one last piece of the monthly forecast is the affirmation, and I wanted to leave that for last so you can walk away saying it to yourself. And this month's affirmation is, I have the depth, stability, and flexibility to perceive glory in all reality. I have the depth, stability, and flexibility to perceive glory in all reality. So that's the forecast for November 2022. I will also say, if you've come to this later and it's not November 2022, if you still feel a resonance, that's for a reason, because these messages, they're not like the pumpkin. Is it Cinderella? Yeah, the pumpkin coach. It's not going to expire on the 30th of November at midnight. They apply for whenever you hear them. So they have some legs to them. And if it applies to you as you're watching this, if it feels resonant, if it feels like a good fit, please take the messages home, use them, try them on for size. And I hope this was helpful. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing day. Bye.